A tricky political ad is causing quite a stir this morning. Listen to this ad and listen closely and see if you can guess whose voice this is that's talking.
Regular people asking basic questions.
So, who do you think?
Morgan Freeman.
Right, Morgan Freeman.
No-brainer.
Right? Well, Morgan Freeman says that's not him.
Oh.
Yeah, that is not him, he says, voicing this ad for a Republican candidate.
Wow.
The candidate says he was scammed by the political firm that actually created the ad for him. He was told it was Morgan Freeman's voice.
Wow.
It actually was a spot-on impersonator.
Safety.
Let me ask you this. Maybe they shouldn't have done that if they indeed are doing that. We don't know at this point. But maybe they have a right to be upset about something. They say that they are down 400 men from past storms, that because of the city budget crisis, the city is not hiring workers to replace those who have left. And we do know this as a fact. Coming up in June of 2012, the mayor's budget plan is to cut another 256 sanitation workers through attrition. So there is a defined plan in place to cut even further the manpower.
There's no justification for a slowdown. I don't care what happens. There's no justification for a slowdown.
You and I can't decide if there is a slowdown or not.
Okay, but I'm saying...
we can decide, give me just a second, we can decide, are we a city, lean and mean works in most city departments. Lean and mean works 99% of the time. But when you have a big emergency like a snowstorm, do we need that extra cushion of manpower? Is Mayor Bloomberg right to already have a plan in place to cut 256 more sanitation workers? Is that the right thing? Now, let me show you a couple things here. This is the scene where this is all happening. This is the drill that has successfully gone down through the earth here. A couple animations help us explain a little bit technically what's behind this. This is what is an incredible route that these miners take. It just loops around and around and around for them normally. But of course, this rescue shaft does not do that. It goes straight down. They are in the middle of, what looks like essentially an intestine under earth, and the shaft is going down, meeting them at one of those switchback points. Okay, 7:32 right now, 32 minutes past the deadline. Let's go up to Air 11. Reggie is taking an aerial look and seeing if the streets mostly look done or not. What are you seeing, Reg?
Just are not plowed yet this morning.
Okay, and we're seeing, there's the more main street, and that looks pretty good, but we still get off on those secondary ones, and some of them, boy, that's interesting, just from one street to the next. One's been hit by the plow, and the other one hasn't. And there's the one that hasn't. So Reggie's up in the air surveying the situation. He said, by his estimate, Brooklyn was at about 80%. Let's find out what's happening down ground level right now. James Ford is monitoring the situation on a street that has been waiting and waiting. Do you agree with Reggie's assessment of about 80% success? See if you can figure out what we're looking at right here. See this? It's a catapult, and you see they're pulling it back here. You'll see they'll let it go here in just a second. These are drug smugglers trying to get there. Here, watch. Here it goes. Here it goes. Right there. These are drug smugglers trying to get marijuana across the U.S.-Mexico border. That's that's a novel approach. If they're doing that with pot, people will be next on that thing. You know those bombs, the cargo bombs last week that were intercepted? We just found out that the one that was intercepted in France was 17 minutes away from going off, and it was a real bomb. You ever heard of something like that? The bomb techs, NYPD, getting in there just minutes before the bomb exploded.
Oh, yeah, I could do it.
Absolutely. Nerves of steel. Mike, thank you for the perspective. Again, we just got that from the Associated Press. So one of those cargo bombs that was intercepted in France, the Interior Minister of France says that bomb was 17 minutes away. It was on a timer there from going off when they intercepted it. And they only intercepted them because they got the exact tracking numbers from a person who had been held at Gitmo, who had been retrained and now is sympathetic to the United States. Unbelievable. This person just voted. Miriam says no lines just yet at the District 68 office there, but who designed the ballot? The two people ahead of me were rejected for overvoting, and that's going to be a big problem as we learn how to use this new system if people overvote. Take a look at Space Shuttle Discovery. This is supposed to be the last launch of Shuttle Discovery at 3:04 this afternoon, but there's a problem, and it's a scary problem. They've got a fuel leak. Hydrogen fuel leak started just a little while ago.
Oh, no.
The good thing is the astronauts are not on board the shuttle. The astronauts are not on board. There is a hydrogen fuel leak. They've got it contained. and they've got to figure out there, right there, you can see where the connection is. They don't send those fuel tanks to the pad full. They fill them up just shortly before launch.
So they feel positive they're going to be able to find a solution to this, or is this going to...
They're not sure here at this point, and if they don't launch it by this afternoon, they're going to have to wait until December. This launch is already 4 days late, but you know, when it comes to fuel, they got to get this right. So they're trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do. We're going to keep watching that for you as it develops. Everyone's okay. The astronauts are not in danger or anything. I've been up on that pad before.
Yeah.
The pipe that sends a hydrogen in, you're talking about a large amount of fuel. It's amazing. Democrats and Republicans will take a stab at civility and bipartisanship during President Barack Obama's speech. I predict this will last as long as most people's New Year's resolutions.
I agree. About an hour and a half after the speech. I think that'd be good. Yeah.
You said that next year you will not raise taxes.
Correct.
What about the year after that?
Well, I think that any government should constantly look at its tax regime and make sure that it's fair and balanced and it promotes economic
That's kind of a
growth.
question that could be either yes or no answer. What about the second year?
Well,
Would you raise it in the second year?
What a miraculous story that we saw unfold on the Pix Morning News just a couple of weeks ago.
And it looks like it's going to happen. USA Today just a couple minutes ago posted that he's been allowed into the race.
Wow.
And
really?
Well, how you gonna say no to a guy who's been trapped
I know.
underground,
That's one of his wishes, right? So yes, absolutely. That is going to be great. Can you imagine running and he's standing next to you? What motivation?
I'm sorry, your application was late, but I was underground. If you've ever been tempted by one of those internet super cheap deals,
sure, they pop up all the time.
Absolutely. You should be aware that sometimes what you see is not exactly what you get. Case in point, here's a photo for an ad for the buffet. The Grand Palladium, Dominican Republic. Looks great. What a spread.
I think I see lobster.
So like beautiful. Here's the reality.
Oh, that's a harsh reality. Child pornography and exploitation on the show.
What's that sound? Oh, that's the sound of MTV getting its cred back. It's street cred. You know what I mean?
It is, because the only cred that it really had was with the Jersey Shore. So
right. That's crud.
Crud.